Hi everyone, it's Liam and Lucy here from US Sports Scholarships. Thanks to you that are joining live. And also this will obviously recorded, so it will be posted on YouTube, which you might already be watching it on as well. So super exciting. We're actually doing this call from different time zones and places on the world right now. So Lucy, you're in France right now, and I'm actually here in Florida already. So I'm not going to be here till we go in November, but we've got another tour at the moment here. So appreciate everyone for joining. We're super excited for this golf tour later in the year. There's not many better places to be for a golf tour. And we'll hear about Lucy's experiences in Texas as well. But yeah, so here as part of USSS Tours, and let's get straight into the content. At the end of it, there'll be opportunities for people to ask questions, but also admin at ussportsscholarships.com, Liam at ussportsscholarships.com. Feel free to ask any questions on there. I guess before we get into the actual content of what this tour will deliver and the opportunity that it will give to people, I guess two reasons for this call, and I guess two purposes for people to come on the tour, not only to the opportunity to play golf in Florida, but also for most of them, if not all of the golfers, it'll be the opportunity to see what it's like to be a student athlete in America prior to hopefully then basically having a career like you at college, Lucy, out in America. But it'd be great to hear from you in terms of you could just run us through your experiences of what it was like. Again, all of our athletes on this tour are going to be internationals. How was that for you being an international golfer? Like, how did you hear about America? How did you end up having the college career that you've had? If you could give us some insights on that, that'd be amazing.
Yes, thank you. So I'm Lucie Charbonnier. I'm 23 years old and I'm from France. I graduated now a year ago from Texas A&M Corpus Christi, obviously in Texas. Uh, and I spent my 4 years over there playing golf, and it was a really good experience, even though it was right after COVID that everything was kind of different. It was very good. I got to play very nice tournaments all around the US, and that was something very nice for me. I got to play the players at TPC Soras 2 times. So obviously, those type of courses are just you just see it on TV, and to play it, it's just great. And when I was in the US, I got to play very good, very fast. Thank God to Thanks to my coaches and also to my coaches in France that really prepared me for this transition. Just a little background: I left my home when I was 15 to go to a sports academy in the south of France. And that was a very good help for me because when I got to the US, I already knew what it was to live far away from my family. So I could adapt very fast compared to some of my teammates that were from other countries. They didn't adjust that fast, but at the end, we all had a good time and it was just very good. Um, of course, I wanted to have the opportunity to go to a tour like this because it really shows what it is to, like, because it's not normal. Like, I feel like you cannot really see that often.
So yeah, so Lucy, you make a really interesting point there because obviously you can see obviously there's amazing golf courses here in Florida and there's incredible facilities, but with being an international student athlete, there's lots of things that are going to be very different to what you're used to. And it is, you use the word transition, it definitely is that. And just from a like a human perspective, having to deal with being in a new country with a new culture, new methods of training. And you said obviously you had like good experience of being away from home that prepared you for that. Like what would your advice be for people? You were saying obviously a tour like this would have been something that you would have liked to done to see that firsthand? What were the things that like surprised you about the college system?
Yes, well, of course, there is just like a more professional point of view of the practices.
Yeah.
You gotta do things more on your own. And of course, there is the team practices and all this, but the their main goal is for to get results with the team. So they're not gonna just spend so much time with one player. They're just gonna see what makes you play good, and that's something that you really got to understand before going, because you're not gonna have a swing coach, or they're not gonna talk to you about technique unless you're in big crisis. But it's just gonna help you to shoot low, and I think that really helped me because it really changed my game to just focus more on this part than technical, because when you leave you kind of have some bases and then they just make you play. So you gotta be able to see that during the tour, and try to see if that works for you, or if you can find an adjustment in the meantime that you go,
Yeah.
because not everybody can do it just right now. So
Yeah, I
that's
think
a
that's
good practice.
yeah, that's a really important and interesting insight there in terms, obviously, leading up to America, you're just selfishly thinking about how you can improve yourself. And then obviously getting to college, being part of the team. Like, is that something that you really enjoyed and loved, being part of that team, competing against other colleges and events?
Yes, I play better when I play with a team, because I just don't play only for myself.
Yeah.
That's what made me want to go to the US as well, um, because in my country, there's just one tournament in the year that you play by team. The rest of the time is only for yourself.
Yeah.
Um, so it's just a different spirit and emotions, because you live the emotions 10 times bigger, I feel like.
Yeah.
When you play with a team, you really mean it.
Yeah.
Um, so that's great, I
Yeah.
feel like.
And I'm sure it was amazing to make like have those shared experiences. And I'm sure you've made like friends for life, from your teammates in America. I mean, not that it's common for everyone to do so, but obviously you had huge amount of success while you were there and able to, go on and play professionally. Was that always the end goal for you when you went to America, thinking, well, I want to try and play professional and therefore this is going to give me that opportunity? Or was it as you came to like your graduating year, you felt like that you were playing well enough to be ready at that point?
Yeah, actually, I when I left, I kind of knew I didn't want it to be professional, because it's a very hard life, honestly. It's there is a very good pros and cons for each point of view, and I feel like it was something too hard for me. But then when I played there, and I played very good, my coach, that is very honest, told me that, in my last semester, he told me that if I really wanted, I could, because I had the level to play it, and to try something good. So, he also told me that he was gonna be there every step of the way with me. So that, of course, made me want to try.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it actually really prepared me the university, because it taught you discipline, and really like goals, and be able to do it also more um lonely. I feel like that you can do your things by yourself and not depend on each other all the time.
Yeah.
So that's something great also for life in general, to learn that. So I feel that they gave me a lot of positive skills and mindsets to get after.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. And so, yeah, pretty phenomenal for any of us, you joining us on the tour. Is obviously Lucy very recently has been through this process, been able to use that time at university to then develop her game and then go on to play professionals. So, yeah, we're delighted to have you on the tour with us as well. So, moving on from that, just to touch on the American, obviously college sports specifically, before then talking in more detail about the tour. At the time of recording this, Scotty Scheffler's just won the USA PGA again. So, good example of somebody who's been through the college system. He was at University of Texas, and he's not doing too bad the last couple of years. But if you look across, and obviously lots of example on the women's side as well, but just some from the men's here, even like top level with Tiger having been to Stanford. And if you look across it, over 80% of players on the tour have played and studied at NCAA schools. So that's what with America, I mean, maybe they do some things right over here and some things not so much. But when it comes to college and college sports, I think that they're doing it the best in the world. And I think the lines between being a professional and being a college athlete are getting closer and closer all the time. So, yeah, I think in terms of America, it pretty much sells itself because it's a genuine pathway, like with you, Lucy, to go on to become professional. And I mean, how did you find the greens and the courses out here compared to back home as well?
Oh yeah, it was quite an adjustment at the beginning because the state I was on in Texas, the grass it's not the same.
Yeah,
So I kind of had to change a little my way of playing. But it was just to play better. I mean, I could have continued like this. It would have been less consistent probably.
yeah,
Um, but it's just depends where you play because I play some tournaments that had the same type of grass than back home, so it was actually very nice as well. So it's yes, of course it's different, but it's not that big of a deal. You just gotta adapt,
yeah.
and that's easy.
And were you impressed with the facilities? Like, had you, so do you played in America before you moved out to play college golf or?
I just played one tournament,
Okay.
one same tournament 2 years
Yeah.
before I got there, but and it was in Florida. But yes, it's just so big.
Yeah.
Everything is so big over there. They really put a lot of money into it, into the athletic departments in general. And they really want the players to be at their best. I know that during my time in my 4 years, they got to pay for a van with like very nice one with our logo and everything.
Yeah.
Um, and they got also to they wanted to do like an indoor facilities, but I mean we are in the south, so it was not a need, but they were really thinking of doing it and it was close to do it. So
Yeah.
like they really put a lot of money into it and into us,
Yeah.
which is very nice. I feel like they really trust us.
Yeah, no, that's great. And you make an important point because obviously with golf, the climate out here, as I said, I'm here at the moment, it's 35 degrees every day. And even things like that can be a massive attraction for going to America because I know a lot of our tour attendees are based in the UK and it is very seasonal in terms of how much golf you can get in. So over here it's going to be like that pretty much all year round across the states. So loads of opportunities to play as much golf as possible. Talking specifically about us at US Sports Scholarships, we have placed hundreds of athletes into the American college golf system. And again, just some examples here. I think the purpose of this is to showcase, well, we've had some top talent go into brilliant universities. A couple of very recent ones there with Amy and Chloe going to Santa Clara and Ohio State. But the other purpose of this slide is to say, I guess the frustrating but definitely exciting part of this process is until you start the process, you're not going to know where you're going to end up because every golf program has different needs each year and that can change. And Lucy, for you, like I'm sure it wasn't that when you started the processes, I definitely want to go to Texas. It was more like exploring options. But or was that the case? You had like a few options and just felt like Texas was right for you?
Actually, it was kind of both because I wanted to go obviously in a place in the south because I left my home because it was snowing during the winter
Yeah,
when I was 15, so it was not to go back in a place where I could not practice during the winter time.
yeah,
But then I got at a point that I had nine offers, and some were very good, but in northern states,
yeah,
and I didn't really felt like it was good. And I had some in South Carolina and North Carolina as well, where the climate is very nice for golf, obviously. But I had a better feeling with my coach that I played for. So that's how I made my final decision. But yes, of course, you gotta go in a place where you feel is good
yeah.
and that you feel you'll be able to grow the most.
Yeah, and that's another really good point. So I was in Chicago for 4 years. Obviously, you were in Texas, and again, I didn't have the idea that I wanted to go to Chicago beforehand. But a really important point you brought up was actually how I felt the connection with the coach at the time, because particularly in golf, that's really important in terms of developing your game. And you might feel that, oh, this school looks perfect for me on paper, but actually, if there's not a relationship there that you could see working with that coach, then maybe that's going to influence your decision. But again, look, we're here to help guide our athletes towards the right school for their golfing ability and their academics. And feel free to check out the website for that. That being said, probably a good time to start talking specifically about Florida and the tour. As I said, quite funny timing with the fact that I'm being in Florida right now as well. And I'm seeing a lot of this because it is just golf course and community, but followed by another one and another one and another one. It definitely feels like the home of golf when you're in Florida. And yeah, that's just an example of like some of the courses that you'd expect to see out here. As I mentioned here, it often regarded as the home of golf. Whether people play recreationally or wanting to play at a top level, it is kind of the main sport out here. And did you play much in Florida while you're out here, Lucy?
Yeah, I play several tournaments there. Most of the time in the spring because the spring season it's more cold.
Yeah,
So we will get to Florida to play some tournaments rather than Missouri or
yeah,
really northern states.
yeah,
Um, but it was very nice. Very hot for some time of the year.
yeah.
Um, but it's, I mean, I never seen that many golf courses in my life in such a small amount of
It's
houses. Like there's just
yeah,
10 neighborhood or I don't know, but it's just crazy.
it's so true. Like we did an hour drive yesterday, and I genuinely think I maybe saw over 100 golf courses. Like it is absolutely taken over in Florida. And like you said, it's just although very hot, it is amazing conditions to be playing golf in. As I said, while we're out here now for a week, it has been over 35 degrees every day. So maybe a little bit earlier in the year can be great too. But yeah, I think Florida speaks for itself in terms of what it can offer. Talking just as an overview of us as a sports touring company, we work across a variety of sports. As I said, we're here in Florida for a soccer tour right now, but this kind of is our flagship golf location as well. So every year we will be doing this tour to Florida. I guess in terms of like parents specifically, we are an Atoll certified tour operator, and we do have a protected trust membership as well. So all payments are made into the trust, and then obviously your money for the tour is secure that way. So yeah, all of the kind of credentials that are necessary for delivering, a top tour we have, and super experienced in that. I was thinking back, I think this is the fourth tour we've done to Florida now specifically. So yeah, we've definitely got loads of experience with that. I mean, in terms of obviously you could come to Florida to play golf yourself, but I said that the idea of this tour is, and to be led by obviously Lucy here, is to simulate what it's going to be like for you as a future student athlete. We will be living like student athletes with that. So we'll have a busy schedule of playing to kind of mimic what it will be like at college. But we'll also have access to top courses. We will be visiting universities while we're out here as well. And then I guess all of this stuff here kind of covered what I'd mentioned previously. And again, as I said, the cool thing about with our tours is everyone is a former student athlete as well. So we have, probably harder to believe with me than Lucy, fresh out of graduation, but we have all been former student athletes ourselves and kind of been through that college system. We've got a Trustpilot page again, so feel free to check out reviews from previous tour attendees as well. Just wanted to showcase here kind of a rough itinerary that we're going to look to go to. Another thing, an added bonus with the timing of this is it will be Thanksgiving, which is always an incredible time to be in America. What have you got any like standout memories from Thanksgiving being in America, Lucy?
Yeah, I actually got to go to New York
Oh, amazing.
once a year, and I got to see all of the Macy's parade and all of the American celebration for
Yeah,
Thanksgiving. And I also got to be in one of my teammates' house and eat a real Thanksgiving meal and dinner with
yeah.
them. So two opposites, but very nice. And there is a lot of basketball or really like games very important during that time. So it's also very nice. Like there's always something to do.
Yeah, and my experience as well, like all the Americans are so welcoming, and yeah, I used to go to families for Thanksgiving each year, so I think it's something that you definitely need to do as a college athlete to kind of embrace the culture
Mhm.
out here, and always lots of good food. I never really watched much American football, but I feel like you kind of have to when it's Thanksgiving as well. So when we did this tour last year, yeah, we went for a Thanksgiving meal and watched a bit of American football to kind of embrace that culture as well. So these are the tentative dates that we're working for the tour. It may change by maximum one day, but obviously as we get closer, we'll look to book the flights in too. For those of you listening, it will be from a London airport that us as a collective team will be flying out from in London, and then arriving out here in Florida. So the first day, obviously, it is a long flight, depending on where you're coming from. But for those, joining us from London, it is going to be a 10-hour flight. So by the time we land, obviously we want to check in, settle, and have a team dinner so that then, for the first full day, we can then really get straight into the training sessions, which will be led by Lucy, and get straight into playing. There will be opportunities to sightsee as well. Florida's a big place, and as I said, you can drive for a long while and just see a lot of gated communities and golf courses. But what we can look to do is, so for example, on this tour, we're actually going to SeaWorld today, and we're going to a water park tomorrow. So I guess Lucy, you'll finalize with the team what that looks like in terms of when we're playing and when the coaching takes place. But like you said, you also don't want to be out in the sun for 8 hours, for example, playing constantly. So there'll be a good balance of making sure that we get lots of golf time, but also time to relax and unwind. And I don't know if you can see here, but it'll be kind of like similar to what we've got here in terms of there'll be like a pool and hot tub, and we've got a barbecue area. So yeah, the facilities are pretty phenomenal. So we're about to take advantage of that during the downtime as well. We definitely will, at very least, visit Florida Gulf Coast. I was actually with them in the week. We're going to Stetson University tomorrow as well while we're out here. Obviously, we're going to be in a slightly different part of Florida. As I said, it is a big place. You can see there in the visual, that's what Florida Gulf Coast campus looks like. And yeah, that as I said, I had a rough idea of what American colleges would be like before I moved to America, but it definitely surpassed my expectations into what the facilities are like. So yeah, that's a rough itinerary. I don't know if you had anything to add, Lucy, in terms of how you see the format going with training and getting, courses in as well.
Yeah, I mean it's just for everybody to kind of know what they're gonna expect when they're gonna be student athletes and really get to see everything, because I know it's very scary at the beginning because it's very big and there is so many things to do. But of course, we are gonna be here to help and make comfortable everybody and not overwhelm.
Yeah.
Um, but of course, the playing grounds and all of those golf parts, I'm gonna try to do something like typical practice I got to do in when I was playing, and
Yeah.
how qualifier is, or this type of things that you're gonna know before you go, because it's obviously not the same, and it doesn't mean that it's gonna be the same everywhere, but most of the time it's the same type of deal. So
Yeah, and that's great as well with this, and that because you've so recently come out of a D1 program, the ability to put on a very typical session that you would have experienced. And I think it's a win-win, because maybe it's what they expected and then great, that kind of aligns with it, or maybe it's completely different to what they expected. And it's probably good to know that well in advance if you go into America, because yeah, you can prepare yourself accordingly. So then, and obviously then we'd be flying back. So you'd fly on the day of the 5th, but obviously return on the 6th as well. So yeah, these tours are definitely intense, but it's designed to be like that because, again, my personal experience of being a student athlete is it is kind of full on and intense, and there's not a lot of downtime because you're having to balance being the best golfer possible with also making sure that you stay on top of your academics because look, golf is tough, and there's such a small margin of people that are able to have a sustainable professional career. I would say, the idea of going to college is to get a degree, because you're a student athlete still, and the student part comes first for a reason. But if you're able to improve as a golfer and then give yourself a chance of going professional, that's definitely an added bonus as well. Um, Kind of cool, which I hadn't mentioned, is this will be a joint tour in that we will actually be running a field hockey tour at the same dates, staying probably not at the exact same location. So on here we've got like the Holiday Inn Express. It might be worth mentioning that we might have our own house on a golf course. So as I said, like where we're staying here right now is a house that has a golf course attached. So that's quite common out here. So as we get closer, we'll either confirm, but the field hockey team, touring squad will be staying at this Holiday Inn Express where they stayed last year, which is right on the beach in Naples, which is a phenomenal location. We still need to source what courses we'll be playing at, and it might just be more practical to be staying at a house that has the course attached as well. So just worth mentioning that, but we'll definitely be in the Naples area, which is a pretty phenomenal place. Not bad to have that type of beach at your doorstep after you've placed around the golf as well. Um, so yeah, hopefully that just provided some insight into what you should expect from this tour. As you can see, because this is the first seminar that we've done on this, as we get closer, we will then on future ones be able to go, these are the courses that we're playing. Definitely, this is the accommodation that we're playing, and just kind of fill in the kind of small gaps that we've got there. All the information on here in terms of what's included in the cost shouldn't be a surprise. So return flights, accommodation, 3 meals a day, all of the transport. We'll probably, like what we've done here, we'll have a minibus, which don't worry, Lucy, you won't need to be driving a minibus. I'll take care of that. But it just makes it very practical because, as I said, America's such a big place. And then obviously we've got college visits and the coaching that will be delivered by Lucy as well. So yeah, what the photo there is from our field hockey tour that was in Naples last year too. So additional cost, again, we can go in more detail as we get closer, but if you're not a US citizen, then you're going to need to get the relevant visa, which should be an ESTA, but there are certain countries where you might need to get a full visa and go to the embassy. You then get health insurance because in case you get a sports related injury while we're out here is particularly important. And then again, as we get closer, we'll have a good idea of what sport and events are on. So as I said, we're going to Stetson University tomorrow, and there is a college game on while we're there, so that's great. But yeah, we just need to finalize that as we get closer to November. Um, So yeah, hopefully that was helpful for an initial discussion. Appreciate those that have been able to join, or if you're watching online, as I said, do follow up with us. We've talked about obviously payments. We've talked about the fact that we'll source the flights. Typically, we tend to do 6 months before the flight date that half the balance would be paid, and then the remaining balance 3 months. Don't worry if at the time of listening it's gone past the 6 months. There are, we can be flexible on that too. You will need to make your own travel arrangements to the airport. So, for example, even myself, based in Suffolk in England, would make the way to London, and then we'll meet there as a team. If there's any parents that are also wanting to potentially join, we've had that on this tour, then obviously do reach out to us, and we can let you know how that can work as well. And we've talked about the different sports tours that we run. That being said, obviously welcome any questions at this point as well. I'm just going to stop sharing the slides. But yeah, Lucy, I don't know if you had any final thoughts or comments on the tour that you wanted to add as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be something great, I'm sure, because I really wanted to get that before I went to the US, but unfortunately, there was not those type of things back then. Plus, it was COVID, so it was also different.
Yeah.
But I think it's just gonna be a great resource to have, and to just confirm your choice, or actually discover something you really like. So I'm sure it's just gonna be a good week, and just an inside life of what you're gonna have to live for 4 years after.
Yeah, no, I think that's really important because I think for us, even if you came and then you actually decided you then didn't want to go to college, for me, that's also success. Because, like, for me, I found it quite tough week one because I didn't know what to expect. I mean, there's barely the internet back then, so that didn't make life easy. But everything is quite a cultural shock, even though, like, even if English is your predominant speaking language and you can speak English, there's a lot of other cultural differences. And I've been to a lot of states myself, and every state is almost like a different country. So it's really just adapting to that. So yeah, or what would happen 99% of the time is people absolutely love it and it could confirm their decision that it's what they want to do. And then they've had a week of being able to see what it was like, in the future for them. But yeah, that being said, thanks everyone for joining. Really appreciate it. As I said, we're super excited for this. And just look out for more information. Our colleague Ellie will follow up with any questions that you've got. And yeah, I'm sure it will come around real soon. And we look forward to seeing you on the tour as well.